Do you know what it's like to be a pampered princess? Well, I do, because my dad's a billionaire, so the high life's mine. Not only did we live in a 5-story mansion, but I grew up never having to lift one of my pretty, perfect, delicate fingers. I'm Sophia, and throughout my childhood, I had everything done for me. There was a maid to brush my hair, make my bed, and even do my homework for me. I didn't even have to search my walk-in wardrobe for a daily outfit, as I had my own personal stylist for that. So what? I'm spoiled. But I can't help being so perfect. I'm far too gorgeous to be stuck in a stuffy classroom studying. Not when I could be partying or schmoozing with the stars at swanky cocktail balls. But then, one morning, after a particularly crazy night out, I arrived home with a makeup-smudged face and only one shoe. Dad frowned at me, and then he said,
"Sophia, you can't carry on like this. You're going to college, starting next week."
"But, Dad, I don't need to go to college. School sucks. Plus, we have enough money to last us several lifetimes. Let's just travel and have fun." But Daddy insisted I couldn't just sleep all day and party all night. Ugh! So, I decided to major in interior design for now. Some of the course was okay. I mean, I liked the pretty fabrics, but I just didn't see the point in being there. So, after a month, I dropped out and planned a long trip away with my besties. But there was one tiny problem, as paying for this trip would cost way more than my allowance could cover. So, I had no choice but to don my best puppy eyes look and ask my dad for money. "Daddy, please. College just isn't for me. But I really feel that going away for a while will help clear my mind." He snorted.
"I highly doubt that, Sophia. You're lazy, self-centered, and you rely entirely on everyone to support you. You're 20, for God's sakes, so act like it."
I pleaded back. "But Daddy, I just want to have some fun with my friends."
"Then get a job, and spend your own money on whatever you like. But if you carry on behaving this way, then don't expect any more handouts from me. You're lucky that I still haven't kicked you out, Sophia. But soon—"
"What? That's so unreasonable. He was my father. It's his duty to support me. Jeez, did he not love me at all?" I was so mad that I shouted, "You're just some sad, selfish old man!" Then I stormed out of there. I was instructing my maid to pack my suitcases when my mom came in and handed me a bank card, saying it's a secret between us two. Yay! Thanks, Mom. Now let the dream voyage begin. Wow, it really was heaven to me, with cocktails in the pool and lazy beach days. Well, at least, that wasn't until my friends said they wanted a day exploring. It was hot and sticky out there, but I didn't want to be left alone, so I reluctantly tagged along. We ended up in this small forest area, and I chose to sit under a parasol while my friends went to take a dip in the nearby waterfall. Because, duh, I wasn't ruining my hair for anyone. I didn't understand how this could be anyone's definition of fun. I just hoped that my friends would hurry back. Then I heard footsteps. I turned around, thinking it was the girls, but instead, there were 2 men with balaclavas on. Oh no, this couldn't be good. I jumped up to my feet and began to run, but my designer sandals weren't made for swift exits, and soon they caught me. I screamed out as a smelly cloth went over my mouth. After that, the world began to darken around me. I flickered my eyes open. Jeez, it was so sunny. Where were my sunglasses? That's when I heard 2 voices, and I remembered being kidnapped. I heard the one man say,
"Got her phone?"
The other replied,
"Of course. I don't want to upset the boss."
I was so scared that I pretended to still be unconscious. Then suddenly, I heard the sound of the engine starting. I opened my eyes and saw the men driving away. Now, I was all alone in some field. What? Why would anyone kidnap someone, then just leave them in the middle of nowhere? My friends must be so worried about me. I needed to contact them. But how? I had no idea where I was, and no phone. Ugh. I should find a way out of this deserted place first, then borrow someone's phone. The kidnappers had left a bag next to me, which had a bottle of water, some snacks, and some gross-looking sneakers in it. Yuck! But I had no choice but to put them on, as my sandals were now torn. Ew! I would need so many pedicures to recover from this. I took the bag with me and started walking. After what felt like hours of torture, a farmhouse finally came into view. I whooped with joy and knocked on the door, but no one answered. I know trespassing is wrong, but this was an emergency, so I pushed the door open and ventured inside. I was just going to make a quick phone call, then I'd leave. But then I accidentally stumbled and knocked over a vase. A smashing sound broke the silence. I panicked and was about to run away, but from upstairs, a man came down and shouted, "Stop! Thief!" Before I could explain, he grabbed my hand and pulled me back. I tried explaining that I wasn't a thief, but he gave me a skeptical look and said, "Well, in that case, you can leave once you've paid for my vase. That's a collectible." What? This ugly thing? Ugh. I told him I would as soon as I made a phone call, so he doubtfully passed me his cell. I stared at it. Turns out I have never cared to remember any of my friends' numbers. I then thought about calling my parents, but no way. I was mad at Dad, and asking for his help right now only meant accepting defeat. No, never. I told the man I would pay when I got home, but he refused to let me go. After a while of arguing, he forced me to stay and work for him until I paid it off. He even made up an agreement and made me sign it. And what other choice did I have? Yep, I was completely stuck here. This was the worst day of my life. He said his name was Manson. Then he showed me where I'd be staying. This had to be a joke. It was a barn. Literally. There was an uncomfortable-looking bed in there, and I could hear horses neighing in the barn next door. Was he kidding me? I was sitting there in despair when my stomach rumbled with hunger, so I barged into the kitchen and ordered Manson to make me some food. But he just pointed at the eggs by the stove and told me to make myself something to eat. Sure, I'd definitely do that. If I knew how to cook? Manson just sat there smirking while I threw the whole egg into the pan and then spent the next half hour trying to work out how to turn the stove on. In the end, I gave up and returned to my so-called room with an empty stomach. If you think that was bad, well, things soon got a lot worse. At 5 a.m., a noisy rooster woke me up, and then started my disastrous days at the farm. I accidentally dropped the bag of seeds onto the floor and got them in my hair, so the chickens chased me around the pen to get to them. I slipped over in the pigsty. Ew! I chipped a nail cleaning out the rabbit hutch. I even fell into horse manure. It was awful. Then on top of it all, Manson was so rude. He just laughed at me struggling with everything. But then one day, it all got too much for me. I was exhausted and felt so dizzy that I stumbled and broke 2 baskets of eggs. It really hurt so bad, and I was even in tears, thinking Manson would be mad. But instead, he ran over to check on me. Then, he even cooked me a nice meal and told me that I'd been doing a great job, despite the accidents. Whoa, what's with this personality change? So, maybe he wasn't as bad as I thought? Over the next few days, I actually found myself enjoying Manson's company. We sat by the fire pit and watched the sunset. We went horse riding, and I managed not to fall off. And he even taught me how to cook. That's when I realized 2 things. Firstly, I'd been a brat. I was lazy, selfish, and I took everything for granted. But now I realized that with hard work came reward. And secondly, I realized that I liked Manson a lot. So I decided to do something nice for him. I gave the barn a makeover. It was just simple things, really. I put a rug down, added some plants, hung up a few pictures and fairy lights. Then I dragged Manson over to have a look. He peered around the barn, then smiled.
"Sophia, This is so lovely.
Then he awkwardly looked down at his feet.
Look, I need to tell you something. It's your dad. He hired those men to kidnap you, then paid me to let you stay here.
I laughed over that ridiculous joke, but then he continued.
Your dad wanted you to change your outlook on life and understand the value of money. He only has your best interest at heart.
Wait, was this all just a setup? With teary eyes, I looked straight at Manson and said, I was going to tell you that I have feelings for you, but I suppose you don't feel the same. I need to go. Please tell my father to send someone to pick me up ASAP, unless he's okay with me walking all the way back home without any phone or cash. Then I hurried out of there. He shouted after me, but I ignored him. I was so angry and upset. I continued walking until a car eventually pulled up alongside me. It was our family's driver. He took me home. Then I locked myself in my room, refusing to come out. It took a few days for me to calm down enough to go confront my father. And when I did, well, I found myself running into his arms and telling him how sorry I was. He looked so shocked. I finally realized that my dad only did that because he loves me, and he wanted me to see the true values of life. I told him I would resume my studies at college, but there was something else I needed to do first. I showed up at Manson's doorstep with some carrots for the horses and a new vase. On seeing him, he grinned, then gave me the biggest hug. Guys, life isn't all about designer clothes and expensive holidays. Sometimes a stinky farm full of even stinkier animals and a cute guy, well, that can be the best place in the world. As for the future, well, Manson and I are both taking it slow and seeing where it goes. I do have big plans for his farm, though. I'm helping him renovate the barns into holiday cottages so other people can sample the country life too. A part of me will always be a pampered princess, but as for the other part of me, well, it turns out she can make a mean egg bagel and outrun a pen full of chickens. Don't take life for granted. It doesn't matter how pretty and rich you are. Instead, there's far more to life than just that.
Hey, Daisy here. I'm just your normal 19-year-old college girl living away from home for the first time. And can't deny that it could get lonely sometimes. And I felt homesick a lot. But it's okay though, as I have Lucas, my loving boyfriend. Okay, yeah, his family is well off, so he always treats me to nice places and buys me nice gifts. A few months ago, he told me to move in with him in his family's mansion. And I've agreed. But don't get me wrong, I'm not a gold digger at all. I just had no other choice. It all started one night when thieves broke into my apartment while I was asleep. It was terrifying. I knew they were ransacking my living room and stealing my TV and laptop, but I'd rather stay put to protect myself. After that, I didn't want to be home alone at all anymore. Lucas, too, was worried for me, so one evening he told me, Daisy, I think you should come live with me, at least until you find a roommate. Wow. I wasn't expecting that, but I guess it made sense. I felt a bit awkward about it, though, as I've only been to his house, or should I say his parents' mansion, a few times. And although there was plenty of space, and his parents adored me, but I didn't want to feel like I was intruding. Sensing my apprehension, he continued, I've explained the situation to my parents, and they're cool with it. I smiled at him and replied, well, okay then, but it will just be temporary. Before I moved in with Lucas and his family, I felt very anxious. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to adapt to their lifestyle, and I didn't want to upset his parents. I worried a lot, but not once did I think my trouble would be with the maid. Yep, you heard me right. On my first day at the mansion, a cheerful woman immediately ran towards me and greeted me. Mrs. Harris introduced her to me. This is our maid, Sarah. She's been with us for years, so if you have any problem, just ask her. We're all family here. Make yourself comfortable. Then Sarah quickly grabbed my suitcase and smiled at me. Miss, let me help you with that. I'll show you to the room. It was so strange having someone else do stuff for me like this. I could just smile back and follow her upstairs. That made me feel so welcomed here, and how nice this maid was. Maybe we could be friends. But suddenly, a thump cuts off my thoughts. It was Sarah. She'd thrown my suitcase to the floor, then said, "What on earth do you have in there? Carry it yourself. Your room is down the hallway to the left." And she walked off. What was that? Did I do something wrong? I quickly picked up my stuff in confusion. I didn't want to make an enemy of anyone here, especially not on my first day. So after I unpacked my stuff, I went down to the kitchen to help her prepare dinner. She was still so grumpy at me and told me to just get lost as I'd only be in her way. I remained persistent as I really wanted to resolve whatever her misunderstandings about me were. Eventually, she gave in and said, "Fine, you want to help? Go dice up all of those onions." "Yes, sure, but all of these?" I asked her while staring at a basket full of onions. "Are you going to help me or not?" she said sharply. I replied, Okay, don't worry, I'll do it." I tried starting up a convo with her, but she just rolled her eyes at me. Meanwhile, the onions were giving me hell. My eyes were burning and tears were streaming out. Ouch! When I finally finished, she stared at my swollen eyes and said, "If you're that upset about living here, you could just leave." "It's the onions," I told her. She smirked as she took them off me, then walked straight to the trash and threw them away, saying, "You took too long. I didn't need it anymore." What? My face dropped, but I was far too exhausted to argue with her anyway. That's when Lucas and his parents came down for dinner. Sarah quickly set up the tables, then called me over with a bright smile as she pulled out a chair for me. "Miss Campbell, please take a seat. Dinner is ready." Was she for real? I couldn't keep up with her constant change in personality. After dinner, I approached Sarah while she was doing the dishes. "Look, I'm sorry, but did I do something to upset you?" "Yes, you sure did. You waltz around like you own the place, but you're nothing more than a parasite. And I won't let you worm your way into my home." Before I had time to process her words, she grabbed an expensive-looking marble plate and smirked at me as she dropped it onto the ground. Then, with a piece of broken plate, she quickly slit her hand and yelled out loud, "Miss, I'm so sorry for vexing you, but you shouldn't have broken this. It's Mr. Harris's favorite plate." Hearing the crashing sound, everyone quickly gathered in the kitchen and stared at me for answers. I immediately explained, "No, it's not like that." But Mrs. Harris said, "It's okay. Let's help Sarah first." Then she led her off to get the first aid kit. I grabbed Lucas's arm. "Babe, I really didn't do that." He reassured me with a smile. "Daisy, don't worry about it." "You don't understand. Sarah did it on purpose and blamed me." He laughed as if he'd just heard something ridiculous, then said, "No way. I bet it was just some sort of misunderstanding. Sarah is really nice. Don't worry, you two will get close in no time. Now let me clean up this mess. You go and relax." I felt frustrated and fed up, but I reluctantly went back to my room. This girl was definitely onto me. But for what reason? Over the following weeks, her vendetta against me continued. She washed my white clothes with colored ones, then intentionally threw away my stuff and made out she mistook it for trash while cleaning my room. She put extra hot chili flakes in my food, then rushed over with a glass of water when I started to choke, and so on. Worse still, Lucas and his parents wouldn't hear a bad word said against her. They were completely oblivious to how crazy she was. I didn't understand why she hated me so much. Was she jealous of me or something? All right then. If she wanted to play with me, then game on. So I decided to spy on her to catch her red-handed and show everyone her true self. My chance to expose her finally arrived. I was passing her room and I saw her holding a watch. I recognized it. It was Mr. Harris's. She looked shifty as she placed it into her drawer and hid it underneath some of her clothes. Aha! Got her. I quickly ran to the garden to find Mrs. Harris and managed to persuade her to come with me to Sarah's room. Sarah stood by looking all innocent as Mrs. Harris checked her drawer. But the watch wasn't there, and instead we found it still intact on the vanity in the master bedroom. Huh? At that moment, Sarah suddenly bawled out, "Ma'am, I would never steal from you. You know that. I've gone out of my way to please Miss Campbell here, but she's intent on making my life a misery." Oh my God. Those crocodile tears. Did she have no shame? I tried explaining myself to Mrs. Harris, but she held up her hand and told me she didn't want to hear it. I wanted to make amends, so the next morning, I prepared Mrs. Harris's favorite smoothie and breakfast for her. I set it up nicely on the dining table, then went upstairs to get her, smirking at Sarah as she passed by. Mrs. Harris seemed happy with the gesture, but just an hour later, she said she didn't feel well. She was clutching her stomach as she glared at me and blamed me for poisoning her food. What? How frustrating! And Lucas wasn't even home for me to talk to. So I went to the kitchen to check the expiration date of everything I'd used. But I swear it was all fresh. I even went through the trash to check the used milk carton. That's when I saw some sesame seeds in there. That's odd, as I knew Mrs. Harris was allergic to them, so we never had them in the house. It had to be Sarah. She must have poisoned the breakfast with them when I was out of the room. Later that day, Mrs. Harris was feeling better, so I went to see her and told her that I was leaving, on one condition. Then I persuaded her to come into my room and hide in my closet. By this point, I think she was willing to do anything just to get me out of her house. Then I called Sarah over to help me pack up my stuff. She stepped into my room with a cocky smile and knocked over the box of my stuff, then said, "I was always going to win." I replied, "Fine, you win. But before I leave, I want to ask you something. You put sesame seeds in the breakfast I made for Mrs. Harris, didn't you?" Sarah looked around to check no one else was about before she grinned at me and said, "Yes, it was me. All me. While you were sucking up to Mrs. Harris, I ground some up and mixed them into the disgusting smoothie you made. Oh, I also pretended to steal the watch because I knew you were spying on me. Geez, you made it so easy." "But why?" I asked. "But why?" She imitated my voice. "Because this is my family. I've lived here for years. You can't just show up all pretty and carefree and expect to have everything and push me out of my own home. I never wanted to push you out. All I wanted was to be your friend." As if. This is my gold mine, not yours. Sooner or later, all of this will be mine, and God knows I deserve it. I've put up with this annoying family and a poor salary for years. Mr. Harris always dreamed of having a daughter, but no, he's stuck with that dumb son of his. It's only a matter of time until he realizes I can be the daughter he longed for. Or, now that you won't be around, it'll be easy for me to trap Lucas by having his baby. Either way, the winner is always me. Suddenly, the wardrobe doors burst open, and out emerged Mrs. Harris looking furious. She pulled Sarah's hair and dragged her out of the room. Wow, who knew the mild-mannered Mrs. Harris could be so kick-ass? I guess everyone has a hidden side. Anyway, this proved my innocence, and Sarah was kicked out right on the spot. Then Mrs. Harris apologized to me and insisted that I should keep staying with them. I thanked her for the offer, but politely declined. As I felt ready to leave and move in with my friend, I was just relieved that she'd learned the truth and that Sarah had gone once and for all. So, Lucas and I are still together and are very happy. Yes, it was annoying he didn't believe me at first, but he's such a sweet and trusting guy that he'd never expect someone could be capable of such horrible things. But hey, that's just one of the many reasons why I love him. As for his parents, well, I still visit them sometimes. I even cook for them now and then, but thankfully, there have been no more sesame seed incidents, and there's no more crazy maid to contend with. Phew!
Hi again, it's Amelia here. In the first part of my story, I had a horrible encounter with a rude guy in the restaurant I worked in. I hoped I'd never have to meet that kind of awful person ever again. But life doesn't work like that, does it? And ironically, I bumped into him around a month after that, and he saved my life. Then I ended up paying him back by letting him move in with me as he was homeless. And after a few days, I just had enough of his excuses of not being able to find a job. So I told him he could come work in the restaurant with me. I introduced him to my manager, and because he's quite a bright-looking guy, he immediately got the job. However, it wasn't all plain sailing. I mean, what's with his laziness and clumsiness? He was a walking disaster. He broke so many dishes within his first few shifts only, he'd be lucky if he even got any salary. And that's not all. He shouted at a kid who dropped an ice cream on the floor he'd just cleaned. Obviously, the kid burst out crying, which made Jude even angrier. You can just imagine how much our manager had to apologize to both the kid and his mom. And after that, she was furious with Jude and threatened to fire him, all in his first week. Meanwhile, things at home weren't much better. He didn't lift a finger. The place was such a mess, and one time I asked him to do some laundry while I went out to pick up some groceries. Well, I came home to find the laundry room covered in bubbles. And there he was, standing in the middle of that mess, confusingly pushing all the buttons possible to make it stop. He had basically poured the whole bottle of detergent in there. I couldn't believe it. He was useless, and he kept breaking things. I actually had to keep a list of it all, so that when he got his salary, he could pay me back. He was a nightmare. And yet, even though he was lazy and messy, that didn't stop him spending hours on his hair. I kid you not, I've watched him fix his hair for about 90 minutes once, and I swear, it still looked the same. Not to mention, one time I accidentally walked in on him singing in the bathroom while stroking his hair. All he was wearing was a little towel, and we both got such a fright we screamed, and I ran out of there in embarrassment. I came close to kicking him out so many times. He drove me crazy. Honestly, one night I was working late, so I asked if he could prepare dinner. Just a simple pasta. I mean, how hard could that be, right? Well, it was mission impossible for Jude. He burnt the pasta. Burnt it! How does one burn pasta? There were bowls and pans everywhere. When I started shouting at him, he just laughed and shoved me a dish of burnt noodles and said, "Oh, come on, Amelia. I'm a chef. It's art. Now please, enjoy my signature dish, the smoky charcoal pasta." I could have killed this guy, but lucky for him, his humor has saved him this time. So instead, I decided to teach him how to cook. And fortunately, he was actually a pretty decent chef, and he enjoyed it. One night I came home, and he'd made a Thai green curry. It unexpectedly looked quite nice. Still, I was nervous to try it. But OMG, it was delicious. He proudly told me how the chef at the restaurant had given him the recipe along with some cooking tips. That's great. And even though the kitchen was a total mess, it was a start. So I decided he could cook from then on, and then I'd do the washing up. Pretty soon, his 1 month was up. I told him it was time to move out, but he begged me to let him stay longer, as he'd barely got any salary from the restaurant due to owing so much from all the broken dishes. I wanted to say no, but if I was honest with myself, it had been quite lonely living by myself, and even though he was a total klutz, I kinda enjoyed having some company. Plus, he was a top chef. I pretended to be thinking about it for a sec, and then said, "Okay, fine, but you've got 1 more month. Then you're out." He was super happy, thanking me non-stop while running to the kitchen, saying he'd cook me a special dinner in return. Just like that, we learned to get along better with each other, as we lived and worked together. And, well, time flew, and soon another month had gone by, and yet neither of us even brought it up. So he kept on staying. Then one day, while Jude and I were working, a group of stuck-up girls came in. One of them suddenly said, "Guys, look, isn't that our Prince Jude? Why is he working here like a loser?" Then they all burst out laughing. This made me angry, and I was about to go over and say something when I realized that the girl who'd spoken was Jude's ex. I knew Jude had heard, and I thought he'd get annoyed, but he just ignored her and kept working. But the girls kept on laughing, and it was seriously annoying. I went over to take their order, but Jude's ex refused to be served by me. She kept asking for Jude to take their order, and when I said he was busy, she demanded to see our manager. Eventually, he went to serve them, but his ex kept on harassing him. She even dropped water all over the floor so that he'd have to come and clean it up. I offered to do it for him, but he wouldn't let me. And then it got worse. As they were leaving, that girl dropped a $10 tip on the floor. I was furious. What a spoiled brat. I thought Jude would leave it, but he calmly sat down to pick it up while the group of girls all burst out laughing as they walked out of the restaurant. I ran over to comfort Jude, but he just smiled and said,
"Hey, I have $10. What do you want for dinner? My treat."
Then he went back to work. But every time I looked over at him, I could see he was hurt. I really wanted to yell at his ex. How rude can a person get? Later that night at dinner, we spoke about everything that had happened that day. I told him he shouldn't feel sad about his ex, because she was rude and never deserved him in the first place. But then he just laughed it off and said that it wasn't that gold digger that he was bothered by, but actually because it reminded him of his old attitude and the ways he used to treat people, including me on that first day we'd met. Then he sighed and said,
"I bet if I'd been a better person, a decent son, then my parents wouldn't have kicked me out that heartlessly, even when I wasn't their actual son."
Suddenly I felt so sorry for him, but I didn't know what to say to make it better. But to be fair, looking back at the person he was back then when we first met versus now, he was like a totally different guy. He had been doing a great job at work, and all our colleagues loved him. One day, a kid dropped her ice cream, and I stared in shock, waiting for Jude to freak out. But instead, he went over and asked if she was okay, and if she'd like another ice cream. I couldn't believe it. He was so sweet to her. I couldn't stop myself from smiling at him. He'd seriously changed. And even though it pains me to admit, he's a very good-looking guy. So naturally, he got a lot of attention. In fact, a lot of girls came to the restaurant just to be served by him. They even openly flirted with him, and he surely loved it. I just rolled my eyes, wishing I didn't have to see that. There was one girl in particular who came to the restaurant almost every day. She was super pretty, and obviously was trying to get his attention. I noticed one shift that Jude was kind of flirting back. How irritating! I guess he hadn't changed that much then. Then one day, I saw her hand him a piece of paper. When he came back to the counter, he was grinning and said to me,
"Looks like I've got a date tonight."
I was so annoyed and said, "It's not okay to flirt with the customers. I'll tell our manager." Then I stormed off. Later that afternoon, he clocked out first without telling me, and when I got home from work, I saw him being all dressed up for his date, which made me feel so grumpy for no reason. He was whistling and sounded so happy. Then as he walked out the door, he said,
"Don't wait up for me. It might be a late one."
Ugh, he was driving me nuts. I told him he had to be home by 10 p.m. or I'd lock him out. He laughed and said,
"Are you joking? You're giving me a curfew? Geez, Amelia, if I didn't know better, I'd think you were jealous or something."
Ew, I wasn't jealous, and I told him that. Who did he think he was? As if I'd ever be jealous of that girl. No chance. And yet, I couldn't sleep that night. I kept tossing and turning, and thinking about Jude and that pretty girl. Eventually, I got up and decided to go for a walk. Maybe I just needed some fresh air. But as I walked into the park, there he was. But the girl was nowhere to be seen. Instead, he was sitting on a bench surrounded by stray cats. I walked towards him, and he was as surprised to see me as I was to see him. I asked him why he wasn't out on his hot date, and he said,
"Oh, the date went well, but I decided to come sleep in the park because I missed your curfew."
That made me feel so guilty. I was about to justify myself. Then he winked and said,
"Just kidding. Actually, the date was boring. I did come to the bar and hung out with her for a bit, but I strangely felt out of place, so I made up an excuse to leave. I didn't want to come home too early, though, in case you'd laugh in my face, so here I am." I don't know. I think I'm kinda over dating and stuff.
Wait, am I hearing it wrong? Our playboy chooses to go play with stray cats instead of hanging out with hot girls in fancy bars? Are you really, Jude? I playfully rubbed his head while teasing him. Can't deny, but I actually felt so relieved hearing him say that the date didn't go well and that nothing happened between him and that girl. In fact, I was strangely happy. But what does that mean? Do you wonder if Jude ever actually moved out? stay tuned for the final part of my story. You wouldn't want to miss it. Hey, I'm Kirsty, and I have an identical twin sister called Arabelle. We didn't have a normal upbringing, as our mom abandoned us at an orphanage when we were 6. We have our mom's dark blue eyes. That's pretty much all I remember about her. I'm not fully sure why she gave us up. I guess she was young and just couldn't cope. As little kids, my sister and I were close. We used to fool the other kids and the nuns into thinking that we were each other. Arabelle always wore a pink bow in her hair, so we'd both wear one and freak the kids out by double-crossing them in the corridors. Those were good times. But when we got older, everything has changed. I started to become green with envy at Arabelle. Everyone always liked her more than me. The nuns called her Little Cat, and every kid kept surrounding her like she was a sparkling star or something. They all thought she was so sweet and polite. This annoyed me because I knew the real her, and she wasn't sweet at all, if not a completely fake girl. And she just knew exactly what to say and do to get the most from people. Then, when we were 12, a lot had been happening that completely changed our lives. The orphanage had financial problems that could not be saved. Our nuns loved us so much that they didn't want to lose any of us, but they had no choice but to allow the social organization to find us adoptive parents. The nuns didn't want my sister and I to be apart, so they sent us to 2 families in the same town. But the god of justice must be blind as usual. Arabelle was way luckier than me. She was adopted by a wealthier family. My parents loved me anyway, but, well, she received all the best things, and that was just not fair. We went to the same school, and I was so sick of listening to her bragging. When we were at the orphanage, we used to wear the same kind of clothes, but now things were different. Arabelle always stayed in style, wearing the most beautiful clothes. So, although we are identical twin sisters, whenever we stand next to each other, she would be like a queen and I would be a maid. She easily got everything I ever wished for. Princess bed, a large window with a sea view, piano and ballet classes, and an amazing mom and dad. She talked about it all the time, and I got sick hearing it. It seemed like all of the greatest things were not enough for her. She didn't appreciate what they gave her and just always wanted more. If I were her, I would enjoy that dream life with gratitude and respect everything I got. Life was so unfair. Why did Arabelle always have the best while a girl like me was suffering from the day I was born? Adopting one part of a twin made our 2 new families close. My new family was always visiting Arabelle's big house for barbecues and nice dinners. To be honest, I did not want to go there at all. It was not a simple family meeting. It was just an event for her to show up. Her parents were so nice, and just by looking at the way they treated her, I could tell that they loved her so much. They often patted her head and called her puppy. Arabelle acted all sweet. Then, behind their backs, she said this nickname made her feel sick, as she wasn't 5. No one seemed to realize the truth. Arabelle was absolutely not as cute as they ever thought. She actually was kind of insolent, haughty, boastful girl, and most of all, she was a fake. I remember one time when her mother's birthday party was taking place. Her mom looked stunning in that gorgeous dress, and people in the room just stayed silent for a while to show their impressing. Arabelle pretended to be cute and gave tons of compliments to her mom. But as soon as her mom turned her back on us, Arabelle whispered to me, "Look at her stupid smile. She is thinking that she really is beautiful, while everyone knows that I'm the one who looks stunning here." I was so sick of her double life. She was so lucky living that great life, but she had no appreciation for what she already had. And she was so fake. One time, I tried to unmask her true colors. I tried to tell my parents and our mutual friend about how she'd acted behind their backs, but they never believed me and just told me to stop being mean and selfish. They didn't understand a thing about her real version and even scolded me. I was the one who deserved that life, not that fake loser girl. That was when I decided to make a bigger plan. I wanted to replace Arabelle and live her life. I started staring at her work and copied her handwriting. I practiced imitating her voice. We sounded pretty similar, so this was easy. I secretly followed her and her lame friends at school so that I could learn all about their hobbies and habits. But my family was not as wealthy as theirs. I could only stand outside the restaurant, the clothing store, or the cinema. Watching Arabelle enjoy the good life just made my determination grow. When our families met up, I made an effort to get to know her parents more. Her mom likes playing the piano, and her dad likes taking care of his bonsai trees. Her mom can't eat seafood, and her dad is allergic to peanut butter. I jotted down every little detail about her life in my planning book. There were a lot of things I needed to learn until I was fully confident that I could become a second Arabelle and successfully replace her. But then something suddenly happened that made me speed up my plan. This boy called Milo I liked at school started flirting with my sister. And she flirted back. She knew I liked him, but this didn't stop her from agreeing to go on a date with him. She was such a demon. At this point, I couldn't stand her walking around and stealing all the best things I've ever wanted in my life. I had a plan. Back when I was in the orphanage, there was a man who often came to us and said impolitely to the nuns that they should sell him some children to solve their financial worries. Of course, the nuns refused him and kicked him out. He continued to come over a couple of times, and once he gave us his phone number, saying that if any of us got into trouble, we could find him. Then the nun showed up and threatened to call the cops. Well, that was the last time I saw him. I always kept that number because I knew there would be a day I would need it. And that day finally came. I called him, and we came up with a plan to solve my Arabelle issue. He sent her an anonymous message telling her to come to a secluded corner in the park to find out some juicy gossip about Milo. Of course, my nosy sister agreed. The man promised my sister would be sent to another place to work to help him earn money, and she wouldn't be harmed. I left a letter at home saying I'd had enough of the poor life and I'd found a better place to go. I told my parents not to be sad and not to look for me. I hid in a corner of the park and waited for my sister to appear. Then, when they took her, I could easily hop into her life and replace her. There would be no more Kirsty anymore, as I would perfectly be back as Arabelle. Well, the better version of her. Suddenly, I saw a black car stop in the distance. 2 tattooed guys got out of the car. I could see guns in their back. They stopped for a moment to wet a hanky with some liquid thing. This didn't feel right. I knew that this was going way too far. They would hurt my sister, and I was the one who was participating in this sin, and I knew that I would live in guilt for the rest of my life if I ever let it happen. I immediately ran out from where I was hiding, grabbed my sister's hand, and pulled her away. I heard their footsteps right behind us, so I ran as fast as possible to the crowd of people and screamed loudly at the same time to let people around pay attention to us. The other 2 men probably gave up when we ran into the crowd. After we got back to her home, I told her that I happened to be walking past and overheard the guys saying they were going to kidnap her. Then I just ran to reach her as fast as possible without thinking. She hugged me and thanked me for saving her life. She said that she always thought that I didn't like her, and she used to feel that way about me, too. Wow. That moment she came clear that she used to think that I was just a gross, dirty girl and didn't deserve to be around her, and she from time to time tried to pretend herself in front of me just to make me jealous. She was so sorry for her selfish mind and promised to change her character for me. I also told her that sometimes I became so mean because of envy, but facing this dangerous situation made me realize how much she means to me, and I will not let jealousy blind me anymore. Turns out, living a great life was that simple. We just need to talk straight and openly with each other to solve the problems between us. As for my parents, they read the letter I left them and got upset. We had a good talk, and I realized I was being the ungrateful one. Yes, so they didn't have as much money as Arabelle's family did, but they were good people who cared about me. Arabelle hadn't been the only selfish one. I'd been selfish too. Life's good, and Arabelle and I are getting on better than ever. Still, the guilt from what I planned eats me up. Should I come clean about what really happened, or should I keep it a secret and carry on like normal? I mean, it's not like anyone was hurt, right?
It was a Saturday at my environmental club. I saw my friends chatting, so I hurried over to join them. What about Walmart? Walmart? You guys hang out there? Can I come too? I love looking at wall stuff. Huh? Why was everyone gawping at me like an alien? Oh, Walmart. Duh. I was just fooling around. Anyway, you guys go have fun. There. You're probably thinking, has this girl been living under a rock? How can she not know what Walmart is? Well, now I do. Hi, I'm Jasmine, the only child of the biggest hotelier in New York. Growing up rich, I was used to lavish parties and being around wealthy families. That's how I met my girls, Katie and Ashley, daughters of my parents' business partners. I may have lived a privileged lifestyle, but I was actually happiest when I got to work in my art studio. I had an anonymous Tumblr account where I shared some of my finest oil paintings. There, I'd been talking to this one fan for a while, Daniel. He's such a hottie, and he loves art too. But best of all, I just found out we were going to the same high school. Yay! So when the school year started, I asked to meet Daniel in person. Oh, that must be him! I was about to greet him when suddenly a girl appeared. Wow, there sure are a lot of rich girls around here. I swear I saw a few of them ogling you.
Ugh, please. You know how I despise those spoiled princesses the most? I just can't stand being close to them.
Oh no! Daniel hates rich girls? I can't let him see me today. Not like this. So I texted him saying something had come up. Over the next few days, I found out that Daniel was Mr. Cool with all the straight A's, currently the president of the environmental club. And he's single. So that's Haley, just a close friend of his. I was determined to conquer Daniel's heart. I just needed to figure out a way to get around his whole anti-wealth thing. Aha! I'd pretend to be some normal girl and join Daniel's environmental club. In the meantime, I'd make him fall for me before telling him the truth about my Tumblr account. Of course, I couldn't let Katie and Ashley know about this either. And here I am, at the environmental club. I immediately approached Daniel with candies, but you know how terrible rappers are for the planet. Besides, Dan doesn't like sweets. At lunchtime, out of habit, I ordered fast food. But as I went to fetch it, I saw everyone gossiping amongst themselves about the terrible person who dared to order food in single-use plastic. Oh, silly me. I totally forgot I was in an environmental club. I quickly lied that I'd already eaten despite my stomach giving out some monster growls. And today's incident was yet another embarrassing moment I created for myself at the club. Oh, Walmart. Duh, I was just fooling around. Anyway, you guys go have fun. There. Learning to be a normal girly is hard, but dealing with my rich friends was even harder. I'd been so busy at the club I totally forgot I still had the recycling bag on me. Not mine. Another time, I nearly got caught while trying to raise funds with other clubmates. I ended up hiding in the restroom for an hour straight. But all the suffering was worth it, as I got to hang around with Daniel. Daniel, I got this for you.
Oh, this is for me? You're a great painter, aren't you? Thanks. By the way, meet Andy. He's in the Eco Bus Stop Poster Design Group, and you're gonna work with him from now on. Not like a rich kid like him needs the bus.
Andy, what are you doing here?
I could say the same about you. My dad just married Daniel's mom, so I'm here to support my new stepbrother.
Ooh, so Andy, whom I met through fancy parties with our parents in the past, was in Daniel's inner circle. This was wonderful news! So I confided in him all about my plan to get with Daniel. So, any chance you could help a girl out?
Sure. I've always wanted Daniel to have a girlfriend anyway. He seriously needs to chill out a bit.
From then on, Andy started teaching me about the ordinary life. One time, he insisted on taking me to the amusement park for the first time. Why do people take the bus anyway? Why don't they just drive a car?
Not everyone can afford a car, Jazz.
So, when will the bus come to pick me up?
The bus doesn't come to you. You have to go to the bus stop.
Huh? A bus stop? What is it?
It's a corner with a bench. You'll see.
The bus was stuffy, and there was a funny smell coming from somewhere behind me. Where's my champagne and hot towels?
Jazz, this is a bus, not a plane. You don't get those things here.
Later, the bus suddenly jolted, and I flew forward, but Andy caught me in his arms. I peered up at him, and my heart almost skipped a beat. He looked so fine from this angle. Finally, we made it to the amusement park, and it turns out it was so much fun. I went on these twirling teacups until I felt dizzy, and threw some balls at a tower of cans. On the way home, Andy insisted on joining this massive line to try some tacos. I'd never waited this long for food before. But oh boy, they were tastier than a Michelin star food! Best of all, Andy also helped me get close to Daniel. Only I got so nervous. The trees are leafy, aren't they? I mean, all trees are leafy. Apart from trees in the winter, as they're not very leafy.
You're just the right combination of cute and awkward.
Holy moly! He thought I was cute. I was ready for my sweet first kiss when Haley butted in and started boring Daniel with talk of some project. Later that day, Haley pulled me into the corner.
Who are you, and why join this club?
I'm just an environmental enthusiast and a nature lover. This girl is everywhere, third-wheeling with me and Daniel. But it's okay, as Andy had invited me to his house to work on a poster for the club. And I mean, I could conveniently bump into Daniel there too. Oh, some of the paintings here were amazing. I didn't realize Andy was an art fan. We discussed some of our favorite artists, and then I showed him my finest paintings on my Tumblr account.
Wow, I can tell you truly have a knack for transitional blending. Actually, I dreamed of becoming an artist, but then Mom left me and Dad to travel the world and fill her own painting dreams. I didn't want to make Dad any sadder than he already was, so I stopped painting.
I told him to pursue his passion no matter what, and invited him to join me in my art studio whenever he wanted. Suddenly, it was so hot in here, I needed a glass of water before I melted. I walked into the kitchen to find Daniel daydreaming out of the window. Hey, is everything all right?
Eco bus stop has hit a dead end due to the lack of funding.
I knew I could just give him some of my allowance, but that would mean revealing that I was a rich girl. So I decided to cheer him up by pulling funny faces and said it would all be okay. But then...
You don't understand. I have to make this project successful no matter what. Only then I can get a scholarship into my dream university.
His attitude stunned me. This Daniel was completely different from the fan I talked to. But maybe he was only acting up because Eco Bus Stop means a lot to him. So the next day, I decided to give Daniel his most wanted gift, an envelope with my monthly allowance. Just as I was about to reach Daniel, Haley stopped me.
I know your secret already, rich girl.
What? No! You must be dreaming stuff up.
Oh, really?
So you don't know these people?
Aren't they the troublemakers from the rich kid clique?
Yeah, they are. Why would I be friends with those spoiled brats? Spoiled brats?
Jazz, how could you say that?
Your whole Save the Trees act didn't work on me. You were acting fake from the start, so I followed you and saw you with your rich friends at the luxury outlet. That's correct. Jasmine Father owns more hotels than your dumb club members' houses combined. I don't know what she's doing here. Next thing I knew, Daniel walked off without saying a word, so I ran after him.
I knew it so well that rich people like you ain't no good. You could have funded the project, or at least helped me ask your father for a loan, but you did nothing. You disgust me.
I only did it because I like you! Right then, Katie and Ashley caught me up. I'm sorry for what I said earlier, girls. It was my fault. I shouldn't have said such nasty things about you guys. I didn't think a noble lady like you would ever lower yourself for a pity boy like him. If you want back in the clique, then cut ties with your low-rent friends. Maybe my club friends were right. We've been so shallow and materialistic. We should change, not them. You! How dare you, Jasmine! Jasmine! So, Daniel didn't want to see my face while Katie kicked me out of the group. For 1 week straight, I shut myself in my room. It was awful, but it did give me time to think more clearly and come to realize I should stop chasing Daniel. Instead, I want to be more active at the environmental club as I truly love contributing to the greater good. So, the next morning, I went to the beach cleanup with the club. Everyone looked so shocked to see me, especially Andy.
You're back! I'm so glad you came. How have you been?
Then we chatted happily while cleaning up the trash with everyone. Only Daniel and Haley were visibly annoyed, but I just couldn't care less. From then on, I was busy helping prepare for the Shark Tank show to raise capital for Eco Bus Stop. One day, Daniel approached me and apologized for overreacting that day. He went on to explain that his mom's been labeled a gold digger ever since she married Andy's dad. He wanted to show that, unlike Andy, who had been born into privilege, he didn't need money, and that he could get a scholarship into his dream college through Eco Bus Stop. Hearing this, I softened and forgave him. After that, we became friends again, and I think he was flirting with me.
Hey, Jazz, you look nice today. You've got such beautiful eyes.
But for some reason, every time I was with him, all I thought about was Andy. Time passed by, then came the Shark Tank qualifying round. The whole club nervously watched Daniel present the project. And guess what? Our project was selected for the final round. Right after that, Daniel followed me outside.
Jasmine, will you be my girlfriend?
I was so confused that I mindlessly nodded, but somehow I didn't feel happy at all. On my first date with Daniel, I found my mind wandering back to Andy. Worse still, I felt like he was avoiding me. A few days later, I threw my 16th birthday. All my friends from the environmental club were there, except for Andy. Later, Daniel went on stage.
Hey everyone, I prepared this special song for my girlfriend Jasmine. You say you're sorry, but it's too late now. So save it, get gone, shut up. 'Cause if you think I care about you now, girl, I don't give a fudge.
Next thing I knew, everyone was gasping and giving me pitiful looks.
So this is for you, Jasmine, you useless, rich, spoiled little brat. Happy birthday, you're dumped.
I froze, but tried to pull myself together. Yes, I'm rich, but never useless and spoiled. People are more than just their social class, you know. Suddenly, I saw a fist flying through the air. It was Andy punching Daniel.
You jerk, you'll pay for this.
Then he leads me away. Andy sat me down on a bench, and I just couldn't stop my tears.
Stop crying already. He doesn't deserve you, he never did.
But I couldn't deal with this right now, so I turned and ran off without uttering a word. After crying myself to sleep that night, I knew the next day I had to be tough, so I returned to the club to get my stuff.
Hey, I'm sorry about what happened last night. I never thought he could do such terrible things to you. And I'm sorry for being harsh on you this whole time. I know now that was wrong of me.
It's okay. I guess it was just my fault from the start. I ignored the fact that we were incompatible just because he was my fan.
Daniel is your fan?
Yeah, from my Min Arts account on Tumblr.
Oh God, that's you? I'm the fan, not Daniel.
Oh, that makes sense. I guess I misunderstood everything all along. But why is there a photo and info of Daniel? Haley admitted to having a crush on Daniel.
But now that I see his true colors, he's just not worth it anymore, you know? I'm gonna leave this club too. It's Daniel who needs to leave. Just wait and see.
Despite still being in a mood, I showed up to Shark Tank's final round to see the project I contributed to. And yes, our Eco Bus Stop project finally got the funding approval. When suddenly,
I'll invest in the project, but I don't want Daniel as my partner. I want it to be Haley, as she's the real mastermind behind this.
all the club members shouted in union to support Haley and boo at Daniel.
What about our deal? You said your father would invest in my project if I dumped Jasmine publicly.
I don't know either. Maybe it's because you really suck. Moments later, Katie's father got between them.
Fortunately, Andy filled me in on Haley's contribution to the project. Otherwise, I would have made a terrible mistake by funding an opportunist instead. As for you, Katie, how could you do that to a friend? You will receive your punishment at home.
After the show ended, I went for a walk with Andy. So, this was your plan all along, huh?
Daniel went too far this time. I need to teach him a lesson, and... Jazz, I've liked you since we first started hanging out, but I stupidly agreed to help you get with Daniel.
This is so sudden. I don't know, Andy.
I promise to take care of you from now on. Please give me a chance.
Andy, actually, I like you too, but my stupid self kept telling me to pursue Daniel, and all this time I've been thinking about you a lot, but I just need some time.
That's all I need to know.
There he is, my favorite person on earth. He should be the first one to see this. Ivan, look, I did it. I passed my exams, top of my class. Wow, that's amazing. Look at our little genius. You know, when we did algebra, I was terrified, but then I was like, it's just math. I got this. And boom, look, I got an A. Of course you did. You are a genius, the best of all of us. Man, I am hungry. I will sweep this side so we can go home sooner. My sister is a genius, genius. You are literally the worst singer ever. After that, we hurried home and searched for something to fill up our growling stomachs. Uh-oh, looks like Mom left arepas in the fridge. You know I hate that. It's yucky. 1, never say food is yucky. A simple, I don't like it, works best. 2, I got a bonus at work today. Come on, I will buy you a chorizo burger. Eee! Chorizo burger? Wait, but you need to save your bonus for... Forget about that. Tonight we celebrate, mi amor. Yay! Hey everyone, my name is Mirabel, and I'm from Colombia. This is my amazing brother Ivan. Together, we're the greatest team ever. Our mom worked long hours as the mayor's clerk for barely enough money. And even though my brother helped with the money he made from menial jobs around the town, we never had enough. But Ivan was full of ideas to help us forget what we lacked. I'm so cold. Our radiator is broken. Mom called and it's too expensive to repair it. I'm so sorry, guys. But if I pay for this, I don't know if we will have enough to eat. It's okay, Mom. I have an idea. Let's move all our beds to the kitchen and use the stove to stay warm. Mirabel, you always wanted to go camping, right? Today, we're going camping in the kitchen. Awesome! He always knows how to turn things around like that, even though our living conditions aren't all too great. But with Ivan around, it felt like nothing could go wrong until...
Mira, the most exciting thing happened today. So while I was sweeping the streets in the city, this man in a suit came to me, and long story short, he wants to take me to be a model in America.
What? America? That's so far away, Ivan.
I know, but I'm going to be a model, and that means I'm going to be traveling all over the world. I am going to be like a bird, and after a while, I will take you guys to America as well.
I'm happy for you, but I don't know what I would do without you.
Oh, come on, genius. You can write me every week, and when I've earned enough, I will buy you a phone so we can video call all the time.
You promise?
I swear it on my life.
Ivan left home a few weeks later, and from that day, life sucked. There was no one waiting for me at home after school every day. Mom had to start working even harder, and I was lonely and miserable. Every Saturday, I walked for 30 minutes to the post office, hoping to get letters from Ivan.
No letters yet, dear. I have told you you don't need to walk here every week. Once you have a letter, I will rush on my bicycle to deliver it.
What if you forget? Or you have so much work and you don't get to me in time? Don't worry, I like walking here. Walking is healthy.
Okay, we have a rusty old bicycle in the back. You can have it for your trips here. No one uses it. Please don't say no. It hurts me to see you make this tedious trip every week.
Thank you so much, sir. That is so kind. I promise one day I will repay your kindness.
I know you will.
I excitedly went to get the bike. This probably was the first time I felt happy about something after Ivan left. I was pedaling while humming my favorite song when I bumped into a rock which made me lose balance and head straight to the sidewalk. Oh my god, I am so sorry. It's been a long time since I rode a bicycle.
A bicycle? You call this death trap a bicycle? Now I have to get a tetanus shot because that filthy thing touched me.
I am sorry. Yes, the bike is dirty, but I don't think you will get any diseases.
And I am supposed to take your word for it? Do you even know what a tetanus shot is?
Listen, boy, I have said I am sorry, and I don't know what else you want from me. I am very sorry. Goodbye.
How dare you? Come back here.
With my new bike, I dropped by the post office more often, but life didn't get any better, as there was still no word from Ivan, and later that summer, I graduated high school. I knew my mom couldn't afford college, so I got a job helping the postman deliver his mail. One day, I had to deliver mail to the Santiagos. They were the most powerful family in our town. Their house was a castle. My heart was tumbling in my chest as I placed the mail in their mailbox. As I turned to leave, I heard a voice from the hedges. I looked over and saw the devil boy.
Hey, you! Aren't you the girl that hit me the other day? Why are you here? Security?
Whoa, wait. I'm just doing my job. I didn't bother you one bit.
Job? Oh, with that dead trap. I can't just let you go off and hurt another innocent person. Get over here and directly hand me my mail.
I was confused, but hey, it's the Santiagos. I better do what any of them say. So I stepped into their yard and met this smug Diego. But that's not all. After that, he still wouldn't let me leave. That whole afternoon, he made me judge his paintings, give him recommendations for dinner, pick a name for his new pet, etc. Weird stuff. Guess rich people just get lonely sometimes. And that went on every single day after. Gosh, why do the Santiagos have so many males? And every time I got to their mansion, Diego was already there by the gate waiting and bombarded me with 1,000 silly side quests. He even followed me on my mail delivery. What are you doing? Too rich you don't know how to spend money and time?
Well, don't you see? I'm spending them all on you.
Right, I'm flattered.
Seriously, do you really think our family has that many mails every day? It's all my love letters to bring you to me.
Then suddenly, he leaned in for a kiss, but I dodge it.
Why? You don't like me?
People like me don't get to like people like you. Your parents would destroy my life if we're a thing.
Look at me. I will never let any harm come to you. You are the only joy in my day, the love of my life. I need you. Just trust me.
Okay. And just like that, we started dating. I didn't think of him this way at first, but I guess his sincerity had gotten to me. He's always around, he gave me all the caring and attention I haven't had in a while, which made me feel like I wasn't alone anymore and I could get through everything, thanks to our love. One day, I came home after a long day and I found my mom outside. Everything we owned was littered on the streets. Mom, what happened? What's going on?
I don't know. I just got here and I found these men here, moving our things. I tried to speak to them and they pushed me down.
As we spoke, a flashy car pulled up right in front of us.
So, this is the girl you have been wasting your time with? Look at her, filthy, poor home. You are a disgrace and a disappointment, Diego.
Diego, what is going on?
Dad, you can't interfere in my life like this. Fine then, make your decision. Break up with her or I'll disown you. Not even 1 dime to your inheritance. Daddy, that's not a funny joke. We will sort this out. Mirabelle, I was just bored and you're just a gold digger. We both know that, so...
What? You promised to protect me.
I'm sorry, sweetie. Don't listen to that. I'll explain tomorrow, okay?
Then he quickly got in the car and they drove away. I tried to contact him first thing in the morning, but to no avail. I sneaked up to his house, but only to hear the maids saying he's already long gone to some European dreamland, continuing his lavish life among lavish people as his dad wished. So, my so-called loving boyfriend has left me for his dad's money. But without so much of a proper breakup, while his family is destroying my life, getting us kicked out of our own house, and even getting my mom fired from her job, I felt like breaking down. I've lost everything. This life was just out to get me and I wanted to give up. But looking at Mom, I couldn't bring myself to do so. I wish Ivan was here. He would know how to fix this, as he would never give up. That's right. I was raised by my wonderful brother, and maybe it's time for me to channel his strength and fill his shoes, keeping this family alive and well until he's back. So, swiping the pain aside, my mother and I gathered what we could, and we left town because we knew the Santiagos would never let us have peace. We went to live with an aunt, Mom got another job, and I started working as the judge's assistant at the local court to support her. One day, I was at work scheduling meetings when I heard a voice that left me shell-shocked.
Excuse me, is the judge available to meet me? Ivan? Mira, it's really you. Oh, I have been looking for you.
You left us. I waited for you. We waited for you for 2 years.
I am sorry, Mira. I tried to reach you, but America was hell. There was no modeling contract. I got there and I was worked like a horse. My boss prevented me from writing letters to you guys. When I could finally write home, I never got any response. I thought something had happened to you guys. So I came home 3 months ago, and I have been searching for you guys since. Mira, life has been hard for me, and I thought I lost you guys too.
I am so sorry. You are home now. Ivan being back brought joy into our lives again, but he was very sad. He wasn't the Ivan I knew. All he did was sleep and being all depressed, and it broke my heart to see him that way. Ivan, you need to snap out of it.
What am I supposed to do now? Go back to sweeping the streets or go back to America and start from zero? How do I know things would be different now?
I have learned that if you want to make something happen, you have to do it yourself. Ivan, we are going to America. I was saving my salary to get a college degree, but we are going to use it to go to America. You are right. There is nothing for you here, and it's going to be different this time because you are going to have us.
But what about you? You were supposed to go to college.
Yes, but you are forgetting that I am a genius. I will always find a way to make it work.
Okay, let's do it.
America was different. Ivan actually got a modeling gig this time, and in 6 months, we were comfortable enough that my mom didn't need to work long hours. Everything was looking up. I applied for a national scholarship, which I won, and I got to go to law school. I graduated top of my class, and I can never forget the joy on my mother's and brother's faces when I read my valedictorian speech on graduation day.
Ma'am, there is a client insisting on seeing you.
I can't take any more cases, and I have to go to court in an hour.
He is insisting, Ma.
Fine, send him in.
Mira, is it really you? Oh my God, I saw on the TV that big case you won, and I knew I had to come see you.
Diego, hello. How can I help you?
Wow, you are even more beautiful than I remember.
Let me stop you there. I don't have time to reminisce on the worst times of my life. Be quick. What do you want?
Mirabelle, you know I had to do what my dad wanted. He was going to disinherit me. I didn't want to hurt you.
What do you want?
Okay, my company, we are having an issue with taxes, and we need a good lawyer. Everyone is recommending you as the best in town. Please help me, for the old time's sake.
Sake? I'd spit on that sake. You are delusional if you think I would ever help you. I hope your company burns. It's been nice chatting with you, but I have to head to court. My fiancé is waiting downstairs. Goodbye, Diego. I hope I never see you again.
Wow! This place was like a life-size dollhouse. It was huge and whoa! Was that a whirlpool bath? I was in heaven.
Slow down, dear.
OMG! You even have an indoor badminton court? I love badminton! This was the most amazing house ever! Hey, I'm Helen, and I grew up in a normal house with a normal family. I love my parents, and life was great and all, but the one downside was the long journey to my new high school. My mom, Grace, said she had the answer to this and suggested I go and stay with my Aunt Lucy, as she lived closer to the school. Okay, so I'd never met Lucy before. Actually, until Mom mentioned her, I didn't even know I had an aunt. Mom explained that Aunt Lucy moved to Canada for business and had only returned to the US recently. This was the first time I had to live so far away from my parents, so I was kind of worried I'd get homesick. But one advantage was my bestie, Madeline, lived right nearby. Awesome, right? Besides, this place was dope. I couldn't stop gawking at that badminton court. Seriously, it was bigger than my house. Aunt Lucy, I guess you must really like badminton.
Yes, many people think it's just a backyard game, but it's a true sport to me.
Wow, it was a rarity to meet someone with the same tastes as me. We chatted for ages about our interests. Lucy was so easy to talk to, and I honestly felt like I'd known her for years. I would love to become a pro badminton player, but Mom thinks I should keep it as a hobby and find a more stable career.
I see, but don't let others discourage you. The true passion is worth pursuing. Let me arrange a training schedule for you. Now, try this.
Oh, how do you know I like lobster linguine? At first, living with Lucy was like being in a dream world. She pampered me, bought me clothes I wanted, and cooked the most delicious dishes. But beneath the shine, there was also a darker side. Lucy was super strict. I mean, major general level strict. I had to wake up at 5 a.m. each morning for training, run laps of it for an hour, and hit 50 shuttlecocks over the net in a row. If I missed one, I had to start over again. Meanwhile, I still had to keep up with my homework, and I couldn't go and meet my friends on the weekend or do anything without asking Lucy for permission first. At least at school, I could vent to Maddie about it. I expected her to agree with me, but she shrugged and said, I guess your aunt just wants the best for you. Besides, your badminton skills have improved loads. If I could live in a luxurious house, eat delicious food with such a caring aunt, I'd so put up with a grueling training schedule. Yeah, I guess she's right. Maybe I should be more grateful. Of course, on finding out about the school badminton club, I immediately signed up for it. I was walking over to the court, swinging my racket about and ready to show off my skills when these two guys approached me.
Go back to the cheerleading team where you belong, sweetie. Leave the court for the real pros.
How dare these idiots judge me like this? They hadn't even seen me play. Oh yeah? I challenge you to a game. Then we'll see who's serious.
We're the best players in the school, just so you know. Pick one.
Suddenly, another guy appeared next to me and said,
Then let's play doubles.
Oh my God, he's Tyler, the best badminton player in the whole school. I've heard all about his reputation and seen photos of him with a trophy in the school newsletter, but I've never met him before. Surprisingly, he's even cuter in person.
Pfft, you can defeat us in singles, but can you cover that useless girl in a duo match?
That's it. Scoot over. Let me show you what this useless girl can do. The game started and instantly, Tyler and I vibed on the court and were hitting the shuttlecocks at lightning speed. We won in straight sets, and those losers looked so bummed out. Tyler seemed super impressed, and then,
good game, Helen. Do you want to hang out again? How about tomorrow? We could go get some food.
Mamma mia! How can I say no to that? But when I told Aunt Lucy, she didn't take it so well.
Love may seem appealing, but it's a waste of time and energy that will lead to a decline in your badminton abilities. Your grades, your mood, everything. You're too immature to deal with those type of emotions right now.
This was ridiculous. I wasn't a little kid. I was perfectly capable of making my own decisions and following my own feelings. He's a sweet guy who helped me out.
Of course he did. All guys appear nice at first.
Maybe if you just gave him a chance.
Wake up, Helen, and stop yourself from throwing away your dreams for some boy.
Ugh, it was no use. My aunt was too stubborn to listen. I stormed up to my room, feeling frustrated. No way was I letting my aunt's strictness ruin things with my dream guy. So I decided to sneak out to meet Tyler. But how? I know exactly the person who can help. Matt's red code. Aunt Lucy won't let me see Tyler. Please help me distract her.
Okay, but only if you get me a signed copy of the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Easy peasy. After that day, I was able to go on multiple dates with Tyler, all thanks to Maddie's help. She always came up with the most convincing excuses, like I was going to her house for group study or we were going to a super important event. Then one time when I was supposed to study at home, it was actually Maddie pretending to be me. Later, I sneaked back into my room, all giddy. You wouldn't believe how great our date was today. But Maddie just gave this awkward look. What's up? Did my aunt suspect something? No, everything's fine. Then she immediately climbed out of the window. Strange. But the next day she acted like nothing had happened, so I let it slide. She must have just felt unwell or something. Meanwhile, things with Tyler were getting better and better. After a romantic date, we walked home, and suddenly Tyler stopped me, looking all shy and nervous. Helen, I really like you, and I like spending time with you. Be my girlfriend, will you? OMG! This was the best thing that had ever happened to me! I flung my arms around him and yelled out of my lungs, yes! When I finally let go of him, out of nowhere, a kid on roller skates bumped into me and sent me tumbling into the road. A car zoomed toward me, and before I could process anything, Tyler sprinted forward and pushed me away. When I opened my eyes, he was lying there unconscious. I panically called an ambulance and went with him to the hospital. As I sat in the waiting room with floods of tears, I was so scared and didn't know what to do that I ended up calling Aunt Lucy. Only a few minutes later, I saw her hurrying toward me, looking dead serious. Helen, what have I told you? You lied to me to hang out with a boy? I had no heart to argue about that and immediately burst into a fresh bout of tears. It's my fault. Tyler risked his life to save me, and now he's hurt. Aunt Lucy's demeanor softened and she pulled me in closer. After a while of consoling me, she finally opened up and shared a story I didn't expect. Actually, I fell in love when I was around your age, but he betrayed me. I just don't want you to be hurt like that. Oh, that's terrible. But Tyler is a good guy. I just know he is. He saved me. And for that, I'm truly grateful. Okay, I'll trust your judgment and give you my blessing to get to know him further. Thank you. Right then, the doctor appeared and told us that Tyler was all right and he would make a full recovery in a few days. Thank goodness. When Tyler was back, Aunt Lucy stuck to her word and gave me and him a chance together. She even offered to give both of us a badminton lesson. Brace yourself for the craziest training routine ever. But practicing with Tyler made it actually bearable and a lot more fun. I had a big competition coming up, which could get me the professional player title and a chance to join the national team if I won. So I needed all the training I could get. Just one more step away from my greatest dream. Also, I couldn't contain my smile when seeing Lucy gradually warmed up to Tyler. My big day finally came. Mom and Dad were here to support me as well. I excitedly got ready, but when I opened the kit bag, what happened? Oh no! Who's destroyed our babies? I think Lucy might have done it. Why on earth would she do that? I overheard her saying that she was only pretending to like Tyler so she could keep an eye on you both. What? I honestly believe that Aunt Lucy was actually giving Tyler a chance. But it still didn't make any sense. Even if Lucy hated Tyler, why would she try to ruin this competition? She knew how much it meant to me. There's one more thing, but I don't think you're ready to hear it. Gosh, just spill the beans, Maddie. Actually, the day I disguised as you, I found something out. Lucy's not your aunt. She's your mom. She wants to take you back to Canada with her, and she knows if you won this contest, then you'd never want to leave. I stood there in complete shock. So, my beloved family I'd known all these years wasn't actually mine? And Lucy, how come she had the brazenness to show up now as my real mother and wanted to take me back? I felt like my whole life had been one big lie and immediately rushed to find Lucy. Is it true? You're my real mom? How did you know? I can't believe you did that to me! You're selfish, terrible, and ruined everything! Go away! I don't want to see you anymore! I don't have a mom like you! Grace is my one and only mother! Lucy looked completely broken, then quietly left. I was shaking in anger and pain when a gentle hand laid on my shoulder. Helen, sweetie, I know it's hard to take it in. Trust me, this was difficult for us all. You all lied to me! How could you just agree to send me off to her? You never consider me as your real daughter, do you? Don't think silly, honey. We love you so much and never want to let you go. Unless it's better for you. Then Mom told me how Lucy came and persuaded her. Turned out, Lucy had a very tragic past. Since childhood, she'd always been the black sheep in her family. They treated her poorly and despised her badminton passion. Then when she told them she was pregnant, they threw her out, and her boyfriend also ditched her right after that, so she had no choice but to leave me at the orphanage and begin a new life in Canada. After countless hardships, she finally became successful, and all she desired was to reconnect with me. I believe everyone deserves a second chance. That's why I let you two live together for a while. Only if you're happy, I would tell you the truth, so you wouldn't be too shocked. Besides, she can help you more than me now. Hey, you even inherited her badminton spirit. I was stunned for a while. It's true that Lucy left me, but that's because she didn't want me to suffer with her. And I indeed had a happy life. I shouldn't be so rude to her. But it was still a lot to digest, so I went home with Mom. I shut myself away until the next day. Tyler came and tried to convince my gloomy self to go for a walk.
I know that's a lot, but I think you should make up with Lucy.
Why are you still on her side? She only pretended to be nice to you, and she ruined the contest just to take me away from this perfect life.
We can find our chance in plenty of other competitions, but there's only one Lucy. She's your biological mother, and it's fine to be mad with her, but you should never reject her.
My mind wandered back to all the happy moments I'd had with Lucy, our interesting chat, the delicious meals she cooked, and the times we played badminton together. She even had a special room to store badminton equipment, especially the rackets. Wait, Lucy treasured badminton rackets. If she simply wanted to stop us from competing in the contest, then she could have just hidden our rackets or pretended that the car broke down. But she would never destroy the rackets like that. Ty, do you remember who else handled our rackets that day?
I'm not sure. I think Madeline had them at some point.
So, could it be Maddie? But why? She had no reason to do that. She was my best friend and always supported me to play badminton. I stormed over to Maddie's house, but she's arguing with her dad on the doorstep.
You useless, pathetic rascal! Go then. I don't care.
Maddie ran off in tears, and I followed her to an alley. Seeing her like that made some of my anger toward her fade. Hey, what's going on? Maddie seemed surprised to see me. She tried to dodge some of my questions at first, but seeing nowhere to hide, she finally confessed. My mom left me to that alcoholic dad who does nothing but shout at me all day. You have two moms who love you, and I don't even have one. I was angry at Lucy because, to me, all of the moms who gave up their child are heartless and deserve no forgiveness. She even wanted to take you to Canada. I couldn't lose you too. The fear and jealousy got the better of me, so I broke your rackets, then blamed Lucy. I'm so sorry. This sounds tough, but you still shouldn't have done it. I'm always here to listen to you, and I'm not moving anywhere. You're stuck with me. When Maddie felt better, I took her to my home and intended to find Lucy to apologize for everything. But Mom said Lucy had decided to go back to Canada and was on her way to the airport. I immediately hailed a cab to the airport, then ran through departures, desperately trying to find Lucy. I was starting to think I was too late, when suddenly I spotted her about to walk through towards security. Lucy! Mom, please don't go!
I thought you don't want me.
No, I was just confused and angry, and I'm sorry that I hurt you. We finally sorted things out and agreed to give each other a chance to start over. So, what happened next? Well, Lucy decided to expand her business to the U.S. so she could stay here with me. My wonderful adoptive parents took Maddie in after helping her get away from her toxic father. So now I have two amazing moms, an awesome sister, and, yes, you know it, a super cute, thoughtful boyfriend.
When I was figuring out what to do next, someone passed by. He was tall and handsome, just like a male character walking straight out of a Japanese manga. But why does it have to be in this embarrassing situation?
After what feels like an eternity of bombastic side eyes, he finally got close to me, opened his bag, and pulled out an old pair of shoes. I was dreaming about how he would help me put them on, like in the movies when he coldly tossed the shoes next to me. That should do. Then he just left.
Hey, you! Can't you at least help me get out of this?
The guy sighed, then turned around to help me.
Do you even know who I am?
Of course I do, Your Highness.
What's with that attitude of yours?
The royal family never cared to visit this poor village. Why is Your Highness troubling herself here?
Is that so? Well, if that's the case, I want you to show me around so I know how my people are doing. Stranger. The guy seemed surprised at my request, but then put on the sweetest smile.
My name's Will, and of course, I can give you a tour.
Holy Mother of God. If his judgy look was enough to make you question your self-worth, his smile could make you feel like you're the luckiest girl in the world.
But before you can wander around, you need to blend in first. People here don't really like the members of the royalty.
Then he gave me some old clothes from his bag.
You can go in there.
What? Do I look like I belong in there?
No one's gonna judge you. Except some chickens, maybe.
Hey, I can behead you in 1 second.
I'm just kidding. You're safe in there.
This was really the middle of the cornfield, so I had to go in and got changed quick. This Will guy's better not be fooling around. And he did not. He walked me around and told me about the lives of the villagers here. I was shocked to see the houses in such poor conditions. How come I only see women and children here? Where are all the men?
Young people, especially men, all went away trying to find jobs. The living conditions here are hard.
I see. But then, who helps take care of the kids and the elderly?
We're all just a big family, so everyone kind of counts on each other to make it through.
And you're the only guy around?
Actually, I was going to leave too, but then I just didn't have the heart to, so I decided to stay here to take care of everyone.
I was shocked to learn about everything. All this time while I was sheltered in my gated castle, attending useless events at the lodge in name of charity. People out here have been struggling. And this guy, Will, has done more for others than I ever did. I was wrong about him. Right then, a piercing voice came shaking the earth beneath my feet.
Your Highness! What do you think you're doing? Oh my god, what kind of rags are you dressed in? Are you trying to harm the princess? Guards, restrain him!
No, Grace, I'm fine! Look! The guards finally let go of Will.
You can't be out here, princess. You have to return to the lodge ASAP before word gets out.
Next thing I knew, I was escorted away. Thank you! I'll return the shoes to you! Man, Grace is always a party pooper. As soon as we got back to the lodge, Grace instantly turned into a talking machine, going on and on about how dangerous it was, how reckless I was. But you know, one of my greatest strengths is selective listening. So I take what she said with a spoon of salt. I mean, a grain of salt.
Everything I just said to you goes in one ear and out the other, doesn't it?
Yep, you got that right. Anyway, I had this idea while cruising around the village. I want to help better the lives of the people there.
What else, princess?
I'm serious. It's like I finally found my life's purpose as a princess all these years.
Just don't get yourself into trouble is all I'm asking for.
You got it. That night, I racked my brain trying to think about how I could help the villagers. Aha! I'll give them the nicest things in the world, just like how the fairy godmother helped Cinderella. So the next day, I ordered my servants to pack boxes of gifts to deliver to Will and the other villagers. If you could have anything from the royal family, what would you want?
I'm so sorry, princess. I don't know what I did wrong. Please don't fire me.
Chill out. You're not fired. Just answer me.
I don't know. Maybe expensive clothes made out of cashmere or mulberry silk would be nice.
Right. Pack all the royal gowns then. From blueberry silk, of course.
Princess, it's mulberry.
Yeah, that. What else? Get all my tiaras too.
But that's your tiaras, princess.
Nah, I never wear them anyway. Oh, don't forget some royal tableware and tea sets too. I want my people to have the most enjoyable dining experience. After having the gifts sent over, I also gave the order to build a tea house in the village where people could read and have a cup of tea together. It feels so nice to finally be able to do some real charity. In the days following, I still had to resume my charity duties at the lodge, namely helping out with the laundry. But of course, it was just for photos. Feeling exhausted, I decided to get a massage with Liam and Grace afterwards. But who knows, it would tickle so much. It's like 1,000 feathers poking at my soles.
Your Highness, are you okay? Looks like you're dying over there.
Help! Help me! Strangely, after the massage disaster, it was like something clicked among the three of us. We would hang out together, and our favorite thing to do was spilling the tea about the royal family. Well, not literally.
The queen mustn't know about this.
Nah, it's fine. The queen always acts tough and strict, but did you guys know that she's actually scared of the microwave?
Your Highness! I heard some other rumors on the streets too. A royal member once snatched a scarf from a woman and never gave it back just because they liked it so much.
Oh, I bet it's Princess Aurora. She's crazy about fashion and all that nonsense. We never get along though. But just when a maid was putting down a spoon next to me, the butler suddenly flew off the handle.
This is the dessert spoon, and that is the teaspoon. How could you not know this?
I'm terribly sorry, Princess.
It's just a spoon. You're excused. Don't worry about it.
Agreed. We don't care about those stupid rules. Now, if you could leave us alone. They finally left. Ugh. I wonder if these people ever got bored of themselves being boring. Even though I had fun with Grace and Liam for the past couple of days, I've been longing to get out of the lodge again and explore the grounds. So one time, while Grace was back at the palace running some errands, I immediately took my golden opportunity. I was so excited to see how my people were doing with all the nice things I've sent to them. Oh, I bet they're looking as elegant as the royal family now. Maybe they're busy riding the horses I sent. Oh, actually, they might even be having a tea party now. I can't wait to join them. But when I got there, the village looks the same. And is that the sovereign's orb they're playing with? No, that's not a toy, and you're holding it upside down. That's when I turned to see, by the river, the woman pounding on the cloves with golden golf clubs from the late king. Just when I was heading towards them, I caught sight of the tea house, full of pigs, horses, and chickens inside. Did they seriously turn my elegant tea house into a barn? I guess animals are having a grand tea party in there. Right then, some woman passing by noticed me. Is that the princess? I can't believe she still has the audacity to show up here. I thought she was different, but she's just like the rest of the royal family. A bunch of useless, ignorant snobs. They don't even know what we need. What's all the use in these luxuries when we can't even afford basic necessities? I felt like reality had smacked me in the face for the first time in my life. Turned out I wasn't helping them at all. Just then, I saw Will nearby, but upon seeing me, he just sighed and turned away to leave. Trust me, all I wanted was to help out, but I just don't know how.
You should just go back to your lodge, princess.
No, let me stay here and live with everyone to understand what my people are going through.
That's not possible. You grew up with abundance and wouldn't last a day here.
That's why I want to learn, so I could really be helpful and give everyone what they need. Please help me, Will. He still seemed hesitant. Just treat me like everyone else here. I promise I'll try my best. Will seemed surprised at how determined I was, and he agreed to give me a chance. I was over the moon and ready to start a new venture. But when I got back to the lodge to pack my things, I was informed that the charity program was over and all of us were to return to the palace the next day. I had to go find Liam. Seeing him reading in the garden, I told him I had some emergency that needed my attention here and asked if he could help cover up for me. I was ready to get on my knees if I needed to when...
Sure thing. Just do whatever you need to.
But aren't you mad? I know I was supposed to be spending time with you just as the queen wanted me to. You know, the marriage and stuff.
Girl, I got your back.
Saying that, he got on the phone with my mom.
Your Majesty, the princess and I are enjoying our time together so much and wish to be allowed to extend our stays here.
And of course, the queen was more than happy to agree. But I knew there was one more obstacle to overcome. Grace. When I told her I needed to live outside the lodge for a while, she immediately opposed the idea. I'm serious, Grace. I know you worry about me, but I am the princess. I'm supposed to help the very people I rule, but I failed to do that so far. And I'm here enjoying my privileges on my people's hard work. What kind of princess am I? Plus, Liam and I don't have feelings for each other anyway. Grace, you gotta help me. After long hours of arguing, Grace finally caved. I was so ecstatic that I jumped over to hug her. Giddy up! Only, life in the village was slightly different from the palace. People here actually grow their own food. Doesn't everyone's food come from the store?
No, we don't have stores here. Everything comes from the ground.
Even my afternoon chocolate shake with 2 pumps of mocha?
Yes, even your chocolate shake with 2 pumps of mocha. In fact, I bet it's even better. I'll make one for you later.
Just then, I saw Miss Estelle struggling to pluck up the carrots, so I came over to help her. Don't you worry, I got this. But, who knew the carrot was holding on to dear ground? Just when I was about to give up, it suddenly came off the ground and ended up flying straight over my head, hitting, well...
maybe it's better you go feed the chicken.
But when I approached the chicken, I saw an egg on the ground, so I picked it up. The chicken suddenly turned to look at me as if they all spotted their sworn enemy. All that was left to do was run! Not until Will came in and saved the day did all the chickens calm themselves down. You seem to know a lot about life here.
Of course, I've lived here since the day I was born, though I don't really know who my parents are.
Where are your parents?
I'm actually an orphan, being brought up by the people here. They didn't have much, but were raising me with all their hearts. That's why I want to stay here and take care of them now that they're getting older.
I was touched by his story and realized how nice people could be to each other, against all odds.
Let's go fix the roofs. The storm's coming.
Is there something you can't do, Mr. Know-It-All?
Well, actually, yes. I've been living here for so long, I don't know how to impress a girl.
Who are you kidding? I bet girls are dying to sweep you off your feet already.
Are you?
For a second, I found myself lost in the dreamy haze of his eyes. No, Mia, you're here to help others, not to fool around. Come on, let's go fix the roofs. Later that day, Will led me to the garden and showed me the traditional way of making chocolate.
And just like this, you keep grinding until it becomes a thick paste.
I got to try it with Will holding my hand. The two of us were so close together. I could hear my heart pounding against my chest. Is this the rush they all talked about in the fairy tales? When we finished, Will made a fresh batch of hot chocolate and gave me one. When I took a sip, a rich, nutty, and earthy flavor instantly warmed me up inside. Will was right. This is better than any Starbucks I ever had. The following days were the most fun I've had in my entire life. I still found it hard to navigate through the hardships here, but Will was always by my side. And the people here, once I got to know them better, they all started to warm up to me too. Every Friday, the whole village would gather around a bonfire to tell each other the oldest tales.
Enough with the nightingale. I want to know when we'll hear the happy ending for the tale of Mir and Will.
We all know the happy ending is as clear as day already. I found my cheeks warming up to the jokes. I wondered what was on his mind as I caught Will blushing also. Everything was like a dream, until one morning Will and the other villagers had to go harvest the crop, and I stayed home to help with some chores. While I was hanging the cloves, I got all shook up by a familiar voice.
What do you think you're doing, Mia?